Yo, what's up, gamers? So, I walked into the break room this morning and Gary from IT has somehow opened a travel agency. I'm not even kidding. Brochures are everywhere. Dinosaurs, space expeditions, solar-powered eco-cities, a poster that just says catch bugs, a stack of maps, 3 different planets circled in red marker, and somebody has pinned a frog to the bulletin board. Not a real frog, a picture of a frog, which somehow makes it worse. So I ask him, Gary, where exactly are we going? And without even looking up, he goes, Game Pass June. And suddenly, I don't think Xbox knows where we're going either, because this lineup goes from Final Fantasy to Dinosaur, to space exploration to cozy farming, to whatever the hell Frog Sqwad is. This doesn't feel like a normal Game Pass drop, it feels like somebody planned a vacation using a randomizer. So before we get into this, do me a favor. Smash that like button if your backlog is already cooked just like mine, subscribe if you're part of the problem, and tell me in the comments down below. What are you downloading first? Now let's grab a mop, because Game Pass just planned the weirdest vacation imaginable, and we gotta clean it up. First up, Final Fantasy VI on June 2nd for Ultimate Premium and PC Game Pass. This is one of those JRPGs where you don't just say classic because it's old, you say classic because half the genre is still standing on its shoulders. You've got a massive cast, turn-based battles, magic, summons, airships, emotional character arcs, and one of the most legendary villains in Final Fantasy history. And the wild part? This game still hits. The Pixel Remaster cleans it up, keeps the old school charm, and makes it way easier to jump into now. So if you never played Final Fantasy VI before, this is basically required homework. Not boring homework, the good kind. Like the teacher wrote in the TV card and said we're watching greatness today. This is the JRPG that helped build the genre. Then we've got Jurassic World Evolution 3 on June 2nd for Ultimate Premium and PC Game Pass. And every single time one of these games comes out, people convince themselves they're gonna build a safe dinosaur park. Nobody does. You're building enclosures, managing staffs, keeping guests happy, researching new species, and creating the ultimate prehistoric themed park. And then one fence breaks, now a T-Rex is sprinting through the food court, 3 velociraptors are negotiating with security, and your 5-star park rating just became a public safety incident. The deeper you get, the more complicated everything becomes. More dinosaurs, more systems, more opportunities for complete disaster. This is basically a management simulator where your employees are trying their best, and the dinosaurs absolutely do not care. This is why dinosaurs always win. Next up, The Elder Scrolls Online on June 2nd for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. If you've never played this before, clear your schedule. Seriously, because this is one of those games where you log in thinking you're gonna play for an hour, and suddenly you're 500 hours deep arguing with strangers about armor sets. This is the entire continent of Tamriel, packed in one giant online RPG. You can become a warrior, mage, thief, vampire, werewolf, crafter, fisherman, or whatever weird combination your brain comes up with. There are massive storylines, giant world bosses, dungeons, raids, PvP battles, and enough quests to keep you busy until the next console generation. The dangerous part, there's always something else to do. One more quest, one more dungeon, one more upgrade. This game doesn't just take your time, it moves into your calendar. Then we've got Solarpunk on June 8th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. And honestly, this might be the most optimistic game Xbox has added all month. Instead of surviving some ruined wasteland where everything wants to unalive you, you're building the future people actually want to live in. You're creating floating eco-friendly communities, growing food, automating production, generating clean energy, and slowly turning a beautiful world into a self-sustaining paradise. You can build solo or team up with friends, exploring massive skies filled with islands, airships, and new places to discover. There's no giant apocalypse, no eldritch horror, no dinosaur lawsuit waiting to happen. Just relaxing exploration, creativity, and building something that actually works. For once, the future isn't depressing. This is the future I want. Next up, Beastro for June 11th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. And this game starts with a sentence that should immediately concern you. You're running a restaurant with an injured god. Already off to a great start. You're gathering ingredients, building card decks, recruiting adventurers, and serving meals that literally power up your party for combat. Because apparently normal cooking wasn't complicated enough. The more ingredients you collect, the stronger your deck becomes, letting you pull off bigger combos and survive tougher encounters. So one minute you're planning tonight's dinner menu, the next you're fighting monsters because somebody ordered the special. It's cozy, it's weird, it's strategic, and somehow it all works. This is the only restaurant where bad cooking might actually get you unalive. You're not cooking for customers, you're cooking for your life. Then we've got Frog Sqwad on June 11th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. And I need you to understand something right away. This game knows exactly how ridiculous it is. You're part of a heavily armed Frog Squad jumping into chaos missions, blasting enemies, causing problems, and generally behaving like amphibians that were given way too much responsibility. The whole thing has that perfect somebody came up with this as a joke and accidentally made it awesome energy. Everything is loud, everything is chaotic, and every screenshot somehow raises more questions than it answers. You're not here for realism, you're here because a frog launched himself across the screen and solved the problem with violence. Honestly, that's enough for me. Some games want to be serious, some games want to tell emotional stories, then there's Frog Sqwad. This game is pure frog nonsense. Then we've got Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions on June 11th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. And this is exactly how space games steal hundreds of hours from people. You start thinking you're gonna explore one planet, then you're building a base, then you're automating resources, then you're flying to another world because you spotted something interesting on the horizon. And suddenly it's 2 AM. This sequel expands everything fans loved about Astroneer. More planets, more exploration, more crafting, more opportunities to completely ignore your original objective because you found something shiny in the distance. You can team up with friends, build massive operations, uncover alien mysteries, and slowly turn entire worlds into your personal science project. The problem with space games isn't surviving, it's getting distracted. And this is why space games are dangerous. Then we have Denshattack on June 17th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. And I'm gonna be honest, I have absolutely no idea what's happening here, and I mean that in the best way possible. This is a wild trick-based platformer where you pilot a customizable gravity-defying train through a vibrant Japanese dystopia. Grind rails, pulling off tricks, battling rival gangs, and taking down the shady Muraido megacorp. Everything is moving, everything is colorful, something is exploding, and it all looks awesome. The entire thing operates on pure confidence, no explanations, no apologies, just vibes and absolute chaos. And honestly, the more confused I get, the more I want to play it. Next up, Shift at Midnight on June 17th for Ultimate and PC Game Pass. And as somebody who works plenty of night shifts, absolutely not. This is a horror game built around working the kind of late night job where everything feels wrong the second you walk through the door. The building is quiet, the lights don't seem bright enough, and every hallway feels like it's hiding something that definitely wasn't on the employee handbook. You're trying to get through your shift, complete your tasks, and figure out what's actually happening while the atmosphere keeps getting more unsettling. The deeper the night goes, the worse things get. Every strange noise suddenly matters, every shadow looks suspicious, and eventually you're not worried about finishing your shift anymore, you're worried about making it to sunrise. This job feels haunted. Then we've got Are We There Yet? This is a to-be-determined drop for Game Pass, and this is the exact reason you should never trust your friends with navigation. You and up to 3 players are trying to get a giant RV home after vacation. It sounds simple, but it isn't, because somebody always decides to take the shortcut. Now you're bouncing through dangerous terrain, squeezing through places an RV definitely shouldn't fit, and arguing about whose idea this was in the first place. The entire game is physics-based chaos. Every bump matters, every bad turn matters, and every mistake somehow becomes everybody's problem. What starts as a relaxing road trip quickly turns into a rolling disaster where the vehicle is barely holding together and friendships are hanging on by a thread. The destination isn't the challenge, surviving the journey is. Hopefully this road trip doesn't end badly. And finally, Vapor World Over the Mind, and this is also to be determined drop for Game Pass. This game looks like somebody turned a nightmare into a platformer and then decided that wasn't difficult enough. You play as a lost child trapped inside a shattered dream world, fighting your way through bizarre landscapes that feel like somebody's subconscious completely fell apart. The combat is fast, brutal, and heavily focused on timing. You're parrying attacks, stealing energy from enemies, overcoming giant obstacles, and trying not to get flattened by everything the world throws at you, because it's a Souls-like. The world is absolutely not interested in helping you. Every new area feels dangerous, every boss feels personal, and every victory feels earned. The deeper you go, the stranger everything becomes. This isn't a dream you want to stay in. This dream wants you unalive. So honestly, I have no idea how Xbox put this lineup together. We went from one of the greatest JRPGs ever made, to dinosaur management to online RPG addiction, to cozy eco-cities to restaurant combat, to space exploration, to dream nightmares, and somehow ended with a road trip that should absolutely void your insurance policy. This doesn't feel like a Game Pass lineup, it feels like somebody spun a giant wheel labeled games, and Xbox just accepted the results. So we're back in the break room, and Gary's now gone. But the travel agency is still here, but with even more destinations. Because that's a real problem with Game Pass now. It's not finding something to play, it's figuring out what you're not going to play. Your backlog isn't getting smaller, it's evolving, and Xbox just fed it again. So on that note, I gotta bounce before Gary starts booking vacations to dinosaur parks, alien planets, and haunted night shifts. Because I'm gonna have to shut this travel agency down. But before I go, do me a favor. Smash that like button if your backlog is already cooked, subscribe if you're part of the problem, and tell me down in the comments below. What are you downloading first from Game Pass June? This is Sqwad the Janitor signing off. Peace out.